Bustamante is my earthly shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down on Simon's spring beds. He leadeth me to better rooms. He restored my ambition. He leadeth me in the path of better food for my health's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of police batons and steel bullets, I will fear no evil, for he is with me. His intelligence and good counsel will comfort me. Buster prepares a table before me in the presence of the capitalist. He appointed my palm with more money, my cup will soon run over. Surely better wages and shorter working hours shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in peace and contentment in this my island home forever. This is a Psalms modified by Williams for Sir Alexander Bustamante in 1938. The Learning Journey in association with Turn It Up Tuesday, hosted by Ross Audio, presents Did You Know? This week, we'll explore stories about Sir Alexander Bustamante, and these stories are based on research conducted and my interaction with one teacher that I came across in Jamaica. This is also dedicated to her. Before we move on, let us establish a few facts about Sir Alexander Bustamante. Sir Alexander Bustamante was born February 24th, 1884. It is said that he left Jamaica and returned with some wealth. On his return, he would see the suffering of many Jamaicans. Bustamante has been described as a charismatic leader who was able to motivate the masses. While many people know about Sir Alexander Bustamante, I wonder how many know about the untold stories of his legacy. I am sure one set of school children back in my time teaching in Jamaica found out about his legacy based on Miss Atkins, a teacher who was a special education teacher in that time. She gave one of the best dramatization I've ever seen a school teacher give about a national hero. She got the children standing in 3 rows and began telling them stories about the riots. She then allowed them to march on the spot. They were all moving. Her role was that of the narrator of the story, and she was playing the part of Sir Alexander Bustamante. She then told them how Alexander Bustamante went down to a place because he was very upset with how the workers were being treated. She then told the student that Buster was prepared to die that day. After all, he was there to rescue their souls. And remember, these people had promised to walk through the valley of police batons and steel bullets. According to Miss Atkins, as Buster approached the police line, the crowd began to sing for motivation. Here are 2 verses that she shared with these students. All Jamaica will remember that Buster was a savior. May his dear name live forever in the hearts of generations yet unborn. We will follow Bustamante, we will follow Bustamante, we will follow Bustamante till we die. We will follow Bustamante. I can see the students moving as I'm talking right now. Miss Atkins got the students moving and singing. She held her hand up and signaled the students to stop. She told the students that Buster moved towards the police line and ripped his shirt open and shouted, "Shoot me first!" On hearing this, the students looked puzzled. She then asked the students what they believe had happened. One student replied, "Them kill Buster, miss." Another student said, "Me no know, Miss Atkins." Miss Atkins laughed and told the class that they did not kill Buster. However, when Buster looked around, the only man standing was him. Everyone had taken themselves away. While the story may have had a slight exaggeration, it should be noted that over time, Buster's prominence would diminish. The New York Times on November 17, 1938, stated that Bustamante was in a militant mood. He accused the government of being fascist and suggested they were unwilling to find a solution to the ongoing strikes. He went on to say that the police were treating the public like brutes and that the police were only made up of white inspectors and sergeants. Buster's name is associated with the fight for workers' rights, and his work led him to form the second main political party in Jamaica, the Jamaica Labour Party, in 1943. He also led Jamaica into independence to levels of recognition never seen before. In 1946, Bustamante and Frank Pixley were acquitted of manslaughter. The case brought against them that they led a mob to beat John Nicholas to death in a labor dispute. According to the New York Times, on May the 12th, 1947, William Alexander Bustamante, who the Times classified as a self-styled one-man government, left the mayor's office. Bustamante was followed by a group of servicemen and unemployed people. I am sure at this point there was no singing "We will follow Bustamante till we die." They were closing in on Buster, and I'm sure Buster was feeling a bit nervous because they were demanding work. Like in the Western, Bustamante drew 2.38 caliber pistols from his hip holster and shouted, "Keep back!" One shot was fired into the ground and he hurriedly drove off. The reality is that Buster was now moving towards having a political career. And it seems that the man who had advocated for workers had entered a new phase in his life. His political pathway would see him rival with his cousin Norman Manley. Norman Manley was described as an intelligent person, while Alexander Bustamante was described as an individual who had the mass appeal. One major event that seemed to have left a significant stain on the legacy of Alexander Bustamante was a statement that some believed did tarnish his legacy. According to Professor Carolyn Cooper, Bustamante's statement came out of the Wild West. But before I tell you about Bustamante's statement, let us set the context. The Rastafarians were involved in setting up small farming areas. However, the owners and the government, in this context, many might say Babylon, wanted the land for tourism. This led to a major incident in Carroll Gardens, located in St. James. The Rastafarians were accused of attempted robbery. Several influential people used this incident to demonize the Rastafarians and demanded an armed response. Sadly, on April the 12th, Good Friday, Prime Minister Sir Alexander Bustamante gave an order to bring all Rastas in. This statement saw the deployment of police and the military into the region. Many Rastafarians were detained, some were beaten and also had their locks cut off. According to one source, 8 individuals lost their lives, including 3 Rastafarians. Let me conclude by saying Bustamante, like many other politicians, he was not perfect. However, when this imperfection leads to the loss of lives of our fellow men and women, it is a serious issue. It is also a serious issue when our leaders make promises that they know they cannot deliver. This seemed to have gone on for decades and continues today in Jamaica and across the world. My question to you is, how should we remember Bustamante? What will you share with your children? Because I remember back in Jamaica, some of these stories about Buster were never shared. Unlike some people, I have no intention of following any leader till I die or standing firm. Over to you, Rossi.